I'm going to do a video today that has been requested by several people several times. And I know they're probably thinking, why won't he honor our request? The request was for me to tell my history, talk about me. And I don't do those type videos, but I broke down today and I'll do it for you. I don't have any of those videos about me. I usually do it about what's happening in the prison system and jail system and places I go to talk to correctional officers in the jails and prisons. But I will go ahead and honor that today and go out of my comfort zone and talk about my history in corrections in the military. And I was asked by a couple, the good and the bad. So I'll tell you anything that I felt was bad about it. I got out of high school and I joined the United States Army Military Police. My father did 22 years, was a World War II and Korean War veteran, Bronze Star recipient, combat. He raised me and my brother very strict. I mean, if you got out of line, you got the backhand right there where you stood. If you skipped school, like I did in 9th grade, we had junior high, 7th, 8th, and 9th, he would come to the school back in the 70s with a rope. We grew up on a farm. He brought that rope to school, but I was gone, right? Because I skipped with my ranch buddy, a buddy of mine who lived up in the mountains, and I lived down in the valley. We skipped school, so we weren't there, thank God. He was going to tie me to a tree and whip me in front of the school. Needless to say, I got home. He said, "How was school today? Did I know you guys are playing softball for PE? Did you hit the ball today?" Well, I didn't want to lie, so I said, "No, I did not hit the ball today. I didn't get a chance to hit it." As I changed clothes from school clothes into my jeans, because every day after work he would say, "Come on out, we got some work to do out here." I couldn't just come home and grab a Nintendo and start playing games. Or back in the 70s, we didn't really have those things anyway, not much of that. But he came in the bedroom with his belt off and whipped the heck out of me with the buckle end. That was not fun. He told me if I ever skip school again, I'll get worse. Well, my brother and I turned out pretty good. My brother retired from the Las Cruces, New Mexico Police Department with 23 years of service. I did 10 years military and 28.8 years corrections, survived, have a pension. We both have a pension, both have Social Security. So there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I believe that to be true, and I think many people need to follow that rainbow, and you'll come out better in the end, unless you strike it rich by winning the lotto or just fortunate enough to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. We weren't. We had a small farm in between all the big farmers, and were raised by a strict dad, and my mom is German. My father always said, "I went to Germany in World War II to kill the Germans and ended up marrying a German." Yeah, he was rough around the edges, but he was a great dad. Took us hunting and fishing all the time. Had farm animals, but he made us work hard and was strict. That, I believe, saved me. My brother was the angel of the family, as my mom always said. Never a problem. I was kind of a wild child. Best thing I did was have a strict dad. Best thing that could have happened to me was have a strict dad and go in the Army. So I do 10 years in the military police. I did 5 years in Germany, 3 years with U.S. Central Command in Florida, where all 4 services are involved, and 2 years Army Reserve for a total of 10. The highest rank I achieved was Staff Sergeant E6, United States Army. I got out and said, I need to get a job. So I went to the local prison and applied. Back when I applied, the major would call me in. I remember the major. He had a limp. And he said, sit down, boy. This is Florida. Had me tell him about my military career and being a military policeman. He says, now, I just have a question for you. You scared of these convicts out here? Would you be scared? And I said, no, sir. I don't see any reason why I'd be scared of them. Would you catch a convict? Could you catch a convict? I knew what he meant. You know, I had 10 years military police, so by then I was 18 when I went in, already 28 years old, had that 10 years Army. So I knew what he was talking about, catch a convict. I said, yes, sir, if one tried to escape, I would have no problem catching one. If you were out on that perimeter, would you have a problem pulling the trigger on the shotgun if he was running away? No, sir. If that's what my job would be, I would do it. All right, let's walk around the compound. He walked me around the compound. That same week, they did a drug test, did some background checks around my neighborhood, did a FCIC, NCIC, you know, National Crime Automated System, and the Florida Crime Automated System to see if I had any criminal record, and I was hired. There I go. So I become a correctional officer at a state prison. And I worked as a correctional officer for a while, and I had originally applied to be a probation officer. Never heard from them. That's where I went. By the way, I went to Tampa Police Department also. Tampa called me a year later after I'm already a correctional officer for a year and said, hey, we're interested in you. And I said, well, hey, I'm already a year into corrections. I think I might actually like it. So I appreciate it. So had Tampa Police called me first, I would probably have went to Tampa Police Department and hopefully did my 20 years and got my retirement. You know, end of story here. I did 28.8 years correction and got my retirement. But probation and parole called after a while and said, hey, we want you. It's a 10% pay increase. I said, well, heck, let's give it a shot. So then I became a felony probation officer. Back then, they called it Felony Probation Officer 1. And after a while, I get a call saying, hey, you've been promoted to Felony Probation Officer 2. You'll be moving to Ybor City, Florida for a higher risk caseload. So I go to Ybor City from a rural area in Brandon, Florida, where I was doing mostly rural house visits and rural folks living out in the country and some in the city. But I go now, I'm in the city. Now I'm in the middle of the city doing a higher risk caseload. Not long after that, I get a call because I had applied and interviewed to be a senior prison inspector, which involved conducting criminal, civil, and administrative investigations. And you would conduct those investigations not only in the prisons, but in probation and parole and all the work release centers. So I interviewed, had a bachelor's degree in criminal justice at that time that I obtained while in the United States Army from the GI Bill. 26 of us, something like that, interviewed. I figured I didn't have a shot. I'm not from Florida. I'm originally born in Texas, grew up in New Mexico. Not from Florida. Don't have any people that I know in high places. And I get the call. You got it. I later learned that the regional director and the folks, local regional director and the folks up in Tallahassee said I had the right combination. I had the prison experience, I had the probation experience, and I had a degree, and I had 10 years in the Army as a military police, writing reports and being on patrol and doing things like that. So I do 12 years as a senior prison inspector, conducting criminal, civil, and administrative investigations. My first two books are based on those real-life criminal investigations that I conducted, and some administrative are in there as well, called Corruption Behind Bars and Inside the Inner Circle. And my latest book flipped it from the bad things that we investigated to the toughest job correctional officer USA, showing what a tough job correctional officers go through based on my experience. Now, after 12 years as a senior prison inspector, here's the bad part. Secretary Crosby, who ended up going to prison, he didn't like prison inspectors, and he made it well known he did not like prison inspectors. He especially did not like prison inspectors who were catching some of his people. This guy was more of a make-believe mafia guy. He thought he was really something, always had an escort. He picked some North Florida boys with some muscled up from steroids, which that's in my book as well, the steroid thing. His baseball team on steroids, how they all got caught, how he got caught eventually embezzling money from the Department of Corrections. I get this phone call while I'm at Charlotte Correctional Institution investigating a crime. Already been 12 years as a prison inspector. Inspector of the year 1 year. No bad record. And my boss says, Secretary Crosby is going to move you, which he has the right. The Secretary of Corrections can do that. By the way, I didn't get Prison Inspector of the Year under Crosby because he hated prison inspectors. Harry K. Singletary was the secretary when I got Inspector of the Year. He actually met with me at Charlotte one time on the death of inmate Edwards, and we spoke personally and in depth about this investigation that ended up with a large indictment of captains and sergeants and officers. Unfortunately, these things happen. Crosby was going to move me back to probation and parole with no money change. Because remember, when I got promoted inspector, I got another pay raise, but no money change, just a lateral move. And he can do that. We serve at the pleasure of the secretary as a prison inspector. Well, I didn't like that. I'm a stubborn old mule. And our local sheriff, Grady Judd, was hiring and giving a good bonus. My wife worked for the state as well at a work release center. We both decided, let's go to the sheriff's department. We went and interviewed. They gave us both a nice bonus and hired both of us and gave us steps for all the years we had in the state. And we looked at the end result. If we hung in there for our last 11 years, 12 years of service, counting drop program, we would retire at a better rate than with the state. Off goes the tie, the dress shirts, dress pants, and my burgundy briefcase in the closet, and I'm back in uniform. I had no problem doing that. And my wife and I do 12 years with the Polk County Sheriff's Office, and both of us, remember she was a correctional officer with the state as well, we both came out with a much higher retirement by making the move and working for the Sheriff's Department. What did I do in the Sheriff's Department? I worked in the jail, and then I wanted to be a drill instructor at the juvenile boot camp. So I went through a 4-week drill instructor course that you have to complete before you can be a drill instructor at the juvenile boot camp, plus 240 hours of juvenile training, how to handle juveniles, extra from correctional officer training. And I passed the drill instructor course. 5 of us started out in the course, and 2 graduated. 1 quit about a week in, because they really put you, you wouldn't believe it, but they used a Marine Corps manual for that. I was Army, so I had to change my train of thought to the Marine Corps manual, and they put you through some rigorous physical training there. We're talking about obstacle courses, running, push-ups every time you do something wrong. You spend the entire day in a cell with a bunk, and that's where you eat your meals in there and everything. They want you to go through what the juvenile cadets go through, so you know the feeling, because that's part of the training. We don't want to hurt them, but we want to put them through enough physical training and get the point across, and educational training. We marched them everywhere. Everywhere we went, we marched them. But we had to go through that first. 2 of us finished. 2 went to the hospital, dehydration. One's back went out during the training, and another one got dehydrated during the training. But anyway, 2 of us finished the course and became drill instructors. After the drill instructors, I ended up going to the bailiff section when the juvenile program was shut down by the state. Great program, but when good things are there, the state feels, people complained, oh, it's too hard on them. And it was not too hard on them. It was no different than a young man or woman going through military basic training. Nothing but good for them. They got their GED there. We had a fish program, a horticulture program. They learned a lot. We had drug counselors. Long story short, state shuts down the funding, and I got the bailiff job. And then I retired after 28.8 years. What am I doing now? I am writing articles for corrections1.com. Been doing that for 6 or 7 years now. I am traveling around the country speaking. California, Tennessee, Las Vegas, here in Florida, New York. And I recently got hired by the National Chief of Police Association to work from home, which I've been doing. And kicking off in January, I'll be traveling with them to different prisons across the country. When we are requested to come in and talk to officers and mid-management staff, we will have a team of 5 and we'll travel around the country speaking to them. I also do training videos. Just got through doing some training videos in Tennessee for a virtual academy. I did 2 training videos for them. So 5.5 years after retirement, I'm still into the correctional officer business pretty strong. And that's where I'm at now. And doing these YouTube videos for True Prison Stories. I plan on at least giving the International and National Chief Police Association a good 5 years if they'll keep me. Right now, I've already done a couple of assignments for them from home, but I'm kind of excited about kicking off the new year, traveling around with the team, hoping we can mend some of the issues that are going on in corrections. And, well, just scroll down my list and you'll see some of the issues on the videos I've done of things that we need to work on in corrections. But I'm going to tell you, even though with those things that are going on in corrections, so many people are retiring from corrections and making a decent living out of it. You may not start out at the beginning with the greatest of pay, but if you can hang in there and get that pension, and if your agency does not have a pension, you're doing like a 401k or a drop program, you can do it. I have a pension, and we also did a drop program for the last 5 years of service. It's where they kind of match your money. So I have the drop program money, I have my pension. Now I'm collecting my Social Security for 3 years. And luckily I have my VA medical benefits and a small paycheck for the military. So combined military and corrections, 38.8 years, I've put myself in a comfortable position. If the good Lord is willing, He'll let me live it out for a while and enjoy some of the benefits from those 38.8 years. Any questions, put them down below, folks. Put them down below. And let me know if you have something else you want to know about me. I appreciate it, and thank you for watching True Prison Stories. Please subscribe.